Hello, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave, and I will be your keeper of arcane lore for this session of Call of Cthulhu. Today we are picking back up our playthrough of the Two-Headed Serpent. This is a Pulp Cthulhu epic, and you can pick up your own copy of this campaign from Chaosium.com. All of our VODs of this scenario are being hosted over on the Chaosium YouTube, and if you're watching there, you can join us live each Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That will change in about a month or so, but we've got a little leeway for the time being. Beyond the standards, as we go through this North Borneo chapter, I am going to give a content warning for quarantine procedures and the spread of contagious disease and the descriptions thereof. So keep that in mind, and if you're ever uncomfortable, you can always step away and catch up elsewhere. We've even got a wiki going, so you can find some of the details there. As always, I want to give a thank you to Roll20 and Sirenscape for being great tools which we use to improve our games. And without further ado, let's hop back in, I'll set the scene, and we can meet our investigators, our heroes, nay, once more. So the four of you have hoofed it over to North Borneo, where you've heard there is some horrible contagion spreading throughout the region. A quarantine has been set up in place. You had a bit of a bumpy entry, but we'll say no more about that. And since you've arrived, you've met with Captain Lancaster, had a little look at the barricade that they've set up, and now pushed through it and headed up towards the little village in the mountain region beyond. Where we pick back up, the two trucks have driven up the winding road, and you've seen a sort of opening area where a tobacco plantation is set up on one side with a medical center, or really just improvised first aid tents. There's a house beyond it, and then in the other direction, you can see where a survey team from the North Borneo Chartering Company has set up camp, and they are clearly being blockaded from leaving or from you getting in by what looked like a gathering of protesters, people sitting along the road and having sort of erected, again, a temporary blockade. The final thing of note is that off in the woods, heading deeper up the mountain, you can see a number of trees that look as though they've been pushed to the side or fallen over. Deep gouged scratch marks among them. What you choose to investigate is your own decision, and I'll pass it to each of you to introduce your investigators so that they can do so. Art, kick us off.
Hi, I'm Art. I hope you know that by now, but I say it every time. I am playing Lieutenant Aries Carter, who at this point is in full military mode and is having none of this shit. If there's something big in the woods, I'll shoot it. If people protest and get in our way, I will let the good doctor try and handle it in a nice fashion, and then I will shoot that too. We have an objective, and if all of these people don't wish to die within, checks watch, 16 hours, they should probably get a reel on, and so should we.
Yeah, 100%. Time is of the essence because you have a device with you which is going to go a kaboom in some point tomorrow. All right, up next, Jackson.
Hey, that's me. I'm Jackson. I don't expect you to know that because maybe we've got some new viewers joining us for the first time since our PAX Oz debut last week.
Oh, yeah.
So welcome if it's your first time. I'm Jackson, and it's lovely to meet you again. And I'm playing Dr. Samuel Taylor Thompson, who is a doctor here to lend a hand, good vibes only. Wow, that's as far as I got. That's all I got.
You're a doctor in a quarantine zone. You'll probably have your work cut out for you.
Yeah. It's already been a bit confronting, but you know, there's a good chance it won't get any worse than what we've already seen.
That's right. Here to help. All right, perfect. Up next, James.
That's me. Hello. Yes, I am James, and I am playing the large and in charge. I'm not really in charge, but I like to pretend that I am. I have no authority. Hubert, he is a dilettante. He is a bon vivant. He has a big heart and a big body, which he uses to protect his companions.
Fantastic. I was fighting the big Jim desire, and it's just big. It's just big Hubert, big Jim. This goes all the way to the top.
Yep, there we go.
Fantastic. All right. Lastly, Alex.
Hello, I'm Alex. I'm playing Wilhelmina St. Clair. I was looking at your character sheet whilst re-familiarizing myself with everything. It's a rough time at the moment. I'm playing Wilhelmina St. Clair. You can call her Minnie. She is delighted to be here, a little bit concerned about the explosives, probably about to start drinking. But mostly, yes, we've got a handle on things. It's all good. It's fine. It's great. We do this professionally. We're fine. With PAX. Thank you, everyone who showed up in person. And I did see on the internet that some folks who normally watch our stream did, in fact, tune in to the stream on Twitch at the opposite end of the time spectrum there at like 2 a.m. Thank you. You're amazing.
Absolute legends. And I do think that will be shared on YouTube somewhere at some point. So we'll point that out when it is for anyone that missed it.
I think last time they seemed to like really drip feed the panels over the coming weeks and months. So who knows when it will resurface?
Yeah, and last time, because it was online, they had all the like files sent through to them for a lot of them that weren't live. So I imagine the process is a bit more complex this time. So no ETA, but we'll keep you appraised. All right, tremendous. So the 4 of you plus Shapiro, 5, plus Lancet, 6. That's everyone. Arrive in the 2 trucks.
Morsels at home.
Yeah. Arrive in the 2 trucks looking down on the region. I pass it to the 4 of you. What do you want to do?
Okay, well, I think...
Sorry. It's been a hot sec since we did this particular... It shouldn't be, but it is. So we've got a blockade in front of us.
No,
of
the blockade stops you going up towards the survey team. You can get down to the plantation just fine.
Okay,
or
and
you can fuck up
plantation...
into the woods and chase monsters.
That's fair. So the plantation is where the majority of like unwell people are, and then the survey team was sent up by the military folks, or are they separate?
No,
I forget.
Survey team was here previously, although you don't know the full story of what they're doing here. But they were up here when this all kicked off, so they've been stuck.
I think it makes sense for us to let's stop. Take a look at these, these signs of passage, because that's clearly a hint at something that's going on here, something we probably want to be aware of. And then I'd say we head straight down, try and visit the bulk of the sick people, gather some information there, let the doctor do some doctoring, and then based on the information that we can get, we can figure out whether we need to rush over to catch the survey team or whether we can, do something fancy like go tearing off to somewhere else.
Well, first and foremost, with anything military-wise, we need to know what our objectives are. So what are our objectives? We require samples from people who are unwell for the purposes of working out what exactly this thing is and potentially synthesizing an antidote. Is our objective, this is also me forgetting, to look at potential... unidentified things in the region, or I believe our objective was purely like work out what the hell this disease is.
I think the real goal is that we need to know whether this disease is connected explicitly to the Serpent people. And we've established
that it is not a disease that we've seen before, that it's not a normal disease. It's not anything in our awareness or knowledge. It behaves like diseases we've seen, but it is not. And I think we can...
I believe we also...
It's pretty easy to say it's alien.
We did get an extreme success on the medicine check, which is how we know it's not...
Which means that we then have confirmation of serpent people activity in the area, which means we now have to move to eliminate it. So I guess we find out where this disease started, where it spread from. We try and get to like a patient 0 or something. That's probably a great first goal, but we need to find where this started, and we need to...
I suspect our patient 0 is probably 6 feet under. Although I take your point. So our objectives primarily are identify what this disease, this biological weapon is, and synthesize an antidote, and elimination of any enemy combatants in the area. In terms of ensuring that our objectives are completed, sorry, I just saw patient -6 in chat. I was like, yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ideally, we'd be able to succeed in doing both. But if we don't have a choice between the two, my suggestion, much as it counts, would be to synthesize an antidote more so than going after and eliminating enemy combatants. That if we don't succeed in synthesizing an antidote, while it is unlikely, I believe, Sam, you were saying it's unlikely that this disease is going to get off the island just because of its...
It goes so quickly.
Yeah,
I want to save
itself out.
that one. The word I want to use is veracity. I don't think that's the right one, but whatever.
Here's the thing, though. You know, even if we stop it in its tracks and we save these people, if the people who made it are still on the island,
They can just do it
just
again
do it
if we don't have the antidote. I think collecting samples and getting the antidote.
The antidote is the most important thing. Like, if they have created a biological weapon, yes, there's a chance they could create a new one, but I suspect they've been working on this for some time. I don't know much about medicine, Sam, but I don't believe this kind of thing is easy to create quickly, especially if you want it to be not so virulent that it kills people instantly and actually allows them to less poison, more disease. So I suspect synthesizing antidote is our number one, meaning samples, meaning therefore most likely the most appropriate objective would be to head to the farm. I'm not against looking at the strange markings, Mr. Smith. However, I do think they can be a tertiary objective, if any.
Sure, I just figured while we were going past, but very quickly, just...
I'll give it a squiz.
have a look while we're here. But just very quickly taking a step back, right? And I'm assuming we had this conversation while we're not in the car with Shapiro, so we before we left the base or something like this.
Very briefly
no, I think
on
we're in
that.
the car with Shapiro now.
So
We're also in two separate cars, so we will have had,
You will have
pulled
stopped.
over and are talking out windows at
Yeah,
each
she's
other.
probably-
as you're looking at the goblin markings, large goblin.
Everything's a goblin.
So Shapiro will agree with everything you've said. The only additions he'll offer, while standing in front of the cooling down cars and patting at his sweating brow, analyzing the disease is going to take time. We'll set up the analyzer in one of the camps is probably best suited, and if Dr. Sam can get me started, I can actually crunch the numbers, watch over the device and pump in the samples while the four of you continue to investigate. If you've got something else you'd like me to do, then by all means suggest it, but that would be my instinct. The only thing I'd be concerned about is, as Minnie discovered last time, and Dr. Sam, this is burning through fast. This is... The Serpent people would have an objective here, and this is just moving to fulfill it. If we stop them here, they might just find another way around. I agree, Lieutenant. Saving people is a priority, and stopping their current means of taking them out is a strike against them, but we need to understand what they're working on and why, if we want a hope of actually preventing their operation here.
And we do have less than a day before everything goes boom.
Yes, that was more... I take your point, Mr. Shapiro, but as Miss Sinclair points out, you are the reason we are on a time limit here, and if I have to choose between objectives, I'm going to choose the one that is going to save the maximum number of people. I'm very good at killing things. If I see something, I will. See something that I shouldn't, I will, but we are on a clock, and if I have to pick...
I mean, I kind of hesitate a bit, look back between Shapiro and the rest of the crew, and I'll say quickly, we just don't want to get distracted trying to save someone if it means that we allow the Serpent people to achieve a darker objective. For all we know, what they're up to here could be catastrophically world-ending. We don't know their plans. So, yes, let's proceed as you've suggested. I completely agree. I'm just worried that we're going to run into something that suggests that they have catastrophic plans, and if that should be uncovered, we need to be ready to toggle our objective towards that.
Makes sense, Mr. Smith. The good thing about objectives and tactics is that they are not set in stone. If we discover more information that changes our objectives, then we will do so. But up until that point, we can only work on the basis of the information that we have. And the information that we have is that there are serpent people most likely in the area. There is absolutely a disease that is ravaging through these people, and that disease is going to spread and is deadly. So, absolutely, I agree with you. We should be keeping an eye out for further information, but we can only act on what we know.
Completely agree.
While everybody's strategizing, I'm going to stroll over and look at the goblin tracks.
100%. Shapiro will go and check on the analyzer, which has been bumped a little bit on the way up, but also probably the giant bomb, just to make sure it's not going to go off. So the four of you can speak without him if you wish, and Minnie can take a look at the tracks.
I'd also like to head over the tracks. Hubert has some survivalist background. You know, I'm a hiker. I'm keen at all that.
Yeah,
I have no points in track. That's an area that he didn't spread to, but I think he kneels down and starts to look over them anyway. So I would like to make a track roll to try and analyze them. With the caveat, I'm not going to succeed.
100%. So as you're talking, you walk over, the four of you, and can take in the damage. It looks as though trees, young growth, have been basically skewered at their higher points by large talons, the bark raked back, and then they've been pulled away from the earth, the roots breaking free of the ground behind them. For something to reach that high, it would need to be at least 10 or 12 feet tall, and based on the depth of the claw marks, it would have significant strength and sharpness in these talons. There's clear signs of large sort of, well, not clear signs to the four of you who suspect bullshittery. There's definitely distress in the undergrowth where something has traipsed through and gone deeper into the woods and looking to head vaguely up the mountain. The trail would be fairly easily followed. With that in mind, as you're talking, my instinct would be a track roll from Hubert, and it would probably be a Cthulhu Mythos roll from Minnie, unless there's something else you want to roll. And Lieutenant Carter and Dr. Sam, if there's anything you want to roll as well while you're here and talking, just let me know.
Couldn't possibly library use this shit, could I?
Wouldn't
with
be
my
library
books that I brought
use.
with me?
If you spend later on, what you could do is later on you could try and be like, hey, could I like maybe push that with a library use? Like I want to spend a few hours. Library sensors take a while, but you've got tomes with you. If you want to spend some time later, you can have a crack at it.
Let's just Cthulhu Mythos with a 5 in this, sure.
What's the worst that can happen?
I could absolutely luck that,
if you want to,
but I won't, because I can't select it, so it won't. It's not going to do anything for me.
Okay, all right.
You're like, nope, it's fuck, and I'm going to sketch some tracks in my notebook instead of thinking about it.
You make some notes down to get the approximate area.
Exactly. As soon as I see how deep the claw marks on the trees are, I'm just going to nod, look at it, and take out my flask and take a sip. And I'm going to spend 5 luck to do the drinking thing.
Oh, hell yeah! Drunk. Okay, 100%.
There's a bomb. There's a bomb that's going to go off in less than a day. There's a huge thing in the woods. There's a disease that is so much worse than we thought. Shapiro is an asshole. I'm getting drunk.
Let's have a bevy. Do you want to go and give me a track roll, Jim?
I'm going to bend down, pick up a little bit of the dirt, run it through my fingers. Yeah. I'll luck that. Hell yeah. Why not? Like that? So I'll give you 10 points of luck.
Okay. So,
also, change your name.
Yes, very good. Thank you.
To Big Jim.
No, that he doesn't need to change it to that. That's just who he is as a person.
All right. I'm going to, it's going to be relevant to your plan. So as you're beginning to talk and Minnie looks over these claw marks and takes a hit from the flask hidden inside her jacket, Hubert assesses the tracks, and you can see again the obvious trail of something large going deeper into the woods, up beyond and further up the mountain. However, there's something else as well, which you realize with a success, something obfuscated by the large trundling through the undergrowth. Other footprints have come and gone through here, and you see at one point where something like a patch of scales has been left up against one of the trees where
Oh.
evidently a serpent person or one of their ilk, maybe they got like cool dogs or something, has traveled through this way. Seems this path is being used by others as well.
I will take one of their little scale fragments and present it triumphantly, and say that we've found something, hand it for everyone to look at, and then ask for it back because I want to play with it.
Well done, Mr. Smith.
I'm gonna take another one and just add it to my notebook with just a little cardboard file in the back of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
No, scheme away. Jimmy, you wanted to say something while Shapiro wasn't here?
I was just making sure that we weren't sort of discussing the nuances of priorities vis-a-vis ours versus Cataseus's in front of Shapiro, because, we...
Sure.
Do we have different objectives? I don't feel at this stage we do.
Theirs definitely
there's
leans
the-
more towards like, let's not treat the symptoms, let's treat the disease. Like they want to save people for sure, but they are concerned that the serpent people actions are the priority. So yes, you'll be slightly different. Although he's not pushing the issue and he's happy to improvise and kind of let it go as it goes for the time being.
Yeah.
How are you feeling in all this, Sam?
Oh, could be a lot worse. I think we got here with enough time to spare to really kind of make a difference.
Well, you did a good job with the captain.
Oh yeah, they're not all bad sorts.
No, but he is.
Well,
You do have a way with people, Sam. It's
oh,
something I admire about you.
thanks very much. What are we doing now? What?
Well, I think we've got your marvelous machine, do we not?
Well, we do.
Samples.
We head down. I think we head down to the plantation where there's the bulk of the sick people, and then we set up the machine. We try and get as much information as we can. Then we can make a decision based from there. We can leave Shapiro to keep maintaining the machine.
I'm going to make a potentially controversial suggestion. We've already hit one quarantine facility, one village, one local area. I don't know how much more we can learn from the plantation. That survey team who's been up there for a while, if we're looking for an originator, if they've been there earlier, then I feel like I hate to say it, but the plantation feels a little bit more the same. I don't know how much new information we're going to get there and how much differing samples than the ones we've already got.
You might be right. I mean, that we could try and get around the blockade. I don't know if we can try and forge a path through the woods nearby.
There is another consideration. Just to put it on the table, this machine is relatively fragile, and when it's set up, fragile and...
We won't be able to move it.
We're not going to be able to move it. Yeah. Meaning, if anyone decides they don't like that we're in the region, it's very easy for them to disrupt what we're doing. Now, I would generally suggest that if we were going to go down to the plantation and avoid the blockade, we're not doing anything to aggravate the situation. However, it is then directly smack bang in the middle of where all of this protest is coming from, and we are not part of this town. We are external, much like the survey team and the military encampment down below, and they may decide on a whim that we are just as terrible as everyone else they've encountered from outside their area, which, to be honest, probably quite rightly. However, if we're willing to potentially aggravate the situation, I suspect that being in the survey camp might actually be a better position for us, given that it is not as easily accessible to everyone from the village as the village would be. I'm speculating here. I don't know how bad the situation is, and I'm not going to know until we actually get into it. There is a chance we may be able to get past the blockade just by asking nicely. Not that that's generally ever worked before. Usually force is required, but one can try.
Just to refresh my memory, what are they surveying up there?
Oh, yeah, unclear.
I don't know. Survey team. Up there.
Everyone's just talking about
Blockade.
survey team, but we don't even know what they're surveying.
Nope.
They're by the chartering company, so it will have been like
It'll be
geological assessments or fertility
yeah,
of
it'll
ground.
be preparing for a mire or something.
We don't have the cars that we're in. Are they equipped with radios? Is this the kind of thing that we could try and get clarity on via the captain?
Lancaster?
Back at the base.
Yeah, that make a luck roll.
Okay.
Is he there? Are we in range?
This is gonna be with these radios, or a kid if they want to basically set up a communication line with you.
Typically of myself as well, I forgot to do my luck roll at the beginning of the session, so I'm going to do it right now.
Go for it.
I've failed, so I'm going to add 1d10 and
Plus 10.
Plus 10.
No, because
Plus 10?
I spent 10 luck just a second.
You did.
So
Gotcha.
I'm just going to add 7 points of luck, which is going to bring me to a 46. And then I'm going to make a luck roll as I'll check the radio. Nah.
You don't have a direct line, so it's not easy to get clarification. But what you can do is once you set up, you could try and the bandwidth or whatever, and get in. But for the moment, it's unclear. That said, you know them to be surveying the region for presumably setting up some operation here.
It's a shame because I think both. I mean, we've got 2 cars. We could always do like a bit of a preliminary split. Maybe we could send the doctor down with the device into the plantation, get some initial groundwork done, and then maybe I can drive the other car up to the barricade, just have a word with them, see what the situation is, and then we can make a decision from there. I mean, I know that we don't necessarily have a great line to Lancaster, but we've
got radios for each other.
And we can
each car will
then
be
say,
hooked up to
hey,
one another.
we're going to be able to get through, come back up, or we need more XYZ. So
Yeah.
I don't love the idea of separating in a hostile environment, especially when we don't know how hostile it is. However,
Choggers.
Birds and stones, etc.
Mr. Smith is well gifted in making himself amenable to people, so if you're confident in your ability to get up to the blockade and have a chat to these people and a gander at what's going on, and then report back, I trust your instincts, Mr. Smith.
thank you. This also has the side benefit of technically creating a reverse pincer. Anyway, Minnie, do you want to come with me then?
I will come with you. Yes, I think it's best if our lieutenant stays with the device and our doctor.
Yes, I agree.
And which of our 2 parties will be taking the illustrious Mr. Shapiro?
I think we should, to be honest.
He would want to go to the medical camp to set up the analyzer to start running, because if he can sit there and start, because it needs to be watched and run, and it will need to run for hours. So he would.
There's a
suggest
chance
he
we
goes
end
there.
up leaving the analyzer there, in which case also parking Shapiro in the village.
Keep him with the device. Yeah.
Yeah. That said, let's not bring the Haftarang device into any built-up area. So why don't Minnie and I take that?
We'll take the thing.
Yeah. The B word.
I mean,
We'll take the ticky thing.
not that it might matter if it is set to be as large as the whole island.
Okay, it's a mile radius. The island's way bigger than that. It's like this section of the mountain. It's still not great for sure.
So we do know the radius, because I thought it was adjustable and we weren't sure.
It is. But he was saying there's like a range within it. It's currently, it would take out like honestly probably these 2 locations and a bit more. If you can get it way up the mountain, it'll just eradicate a good chunk of the wildlife. Or if you dump it in the sea, some fish.
Or down a hole with some creepy shit in it.
Yeah.
Oh, why hadn't I thought of that?
Because
This would have come in very handy in those big pits in the
Correct.
ground with the...
Yes, correct.
We need to find like the nearest municipal dump and use it as a way to like clear a landfill area. Recycling,
Something tells me that opening a gate to a plane of existence we do not understand, full of things that are completely not, like, are never going to comprehend.
And then
might
dumping our rubbish
The
on
rubbish
might
dimension.
piss them off off.
I don't know.
Just a little.
There's one thing that humans are good at. It's finding a new place and then filling it with garbage. So I feel pretty confident.
Cthulhu rises from the deeps. He's got like a banana skin hanging on his forehead. The oceans are polluted. Fuck you.
Bottle.
Oh no!
Hold on.
Oh no! We killed Cthulhu through pollution.
And that's why you need to cut your plastic tabs. You will kill Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
Anyway,
Cut your don't cut your plastic tabs. Kill the old gods.
Fuck
Anyway.
them fish.
oh my god. Yes. Okay. I think I agree with this plan. Let's do it.
All right, let's fucking
Yeah.
push it into action. Okay, great. So the cars shuffle around because I can't remember where people were sitting. And Lieutenant Carter, Dr. Sam, and Shapiro get into one, which also contains the analyzer and Dr. Sam's wondrous machine strapped onto the roof. Given it's loaded up, the bulk of the remaining equipment will be with Mr. Smith and Miss St. Clair, who are also keenly aware of, strapped into like a baby seat in the rear, buckled to shit.
I was about to say, it's got a seatbelt on.
Is the super bomb. Both cars trundled down towards the split in the road and then go their separate ways. All right, so going into town first, let's do Carter and Dr. Sam. So as you approach the farm, you can see the fronds of tobacco waving in the breeze, and there's a heat coming across everything. You're sort of sweaty and sticky from the drive, dirty from getting out and examining the tracks. And as you pull up, you can see people moving about. Clearly, they're not still functioning. Production has ceased. And over by the aid tents, you can see a fairly grim scene where people are lying up against trees, splayed out on the ground. They're clearly beyond capacity. And what few doctors they have are untrained in handling something of this severity. They're mostly functioning by just portaging water, keeping things as clean as they can, and basically just caring for the sick and making sure that they have someone with them. And as you know, as things get worse, they are not wearing PPE. And you can see a lot of changes that you would suggest. Shapiro gets out and begins to pull down the analyzer to set that up when you are approached by a bloke who heads across. He's wearing a sort of white collared shirt, and he has a pin along one side which reads North Borneo, or the NBCC, along it. He is local, and he speaks Malay. And as he comes up, he'll hail you, though, in English and say, good afternoon. I'm pleased to see someone got through the blockade. I trust you're here to break all this down and tell us we can return to our work.
I am going to look at Sam because Sam's the one who is the good doctor in this thing. I did want to clarify: we are currently all in PPE. Like we established that is we are kitted up. I would also like to flag that I will ask Shapiro to halt on unloading the analyzer until we've heard back from the other two at the top camp. We're not convinced this is the best place for it right now.
He'll nod and leave the buckles in place. So with that in mind, then he'll stay posted. He'll remain by the truck for the time being near the radio in case they try and contact. So you two can approach this man coming through. As he comes in, he will shortly introduce himself as Kazin, and he is the one who actually runs the tobacco farm, the fields, and keeps things flowing.
Well, it's Dr. Samuel Taylor Thompson. It's good to meet you. We're actually here to look into the virus, the sickness that's been circulating around, and see what we can do to clean it up. Is that what you're talking about? To get you back to lift the blockade, or are you talking about the protesters up the road there?
Truth told, whatever you need to do to get things moving. Again, we've been stalled here for a week now. We're falling behind, and soon enough we're going to have messages from superiors wondering what's going on. And truth be told, this little spread is causing a lot of damage. Now, if you're the experts, then by all means, apply your expertise, but I'd like to see something happen soon as possible. This is, truthfully, this is getting ridiculous.
Well, I do need to know, is anyone sick in the plantation? Any symptoms yet? Fever?
No, we've followed things. No one in the plantation is sick. We've moved everyone to the aid tents you see over there, so those remaining should be able to return to work and we could get moving once more. This is clearly but
the sickness has made it in here.
It's been isolated. It's over there, understand? And those that have been... I haven't got it. I've been around people. I think this is being played out, okay? This is getting... People are... It's not as serious as it's being claimed. This quarantine that's blocking us from getting into town to resupply is absurd. We haven't been able to get fresh food or anything else in a while. We're draining water from the one well we have. This can't function. This doesn't work, sir.
No, yeah, I see what you mean. It must be pretty frustrating, hey? It is pretty serious, though. A lot of people are dying really quickly.
Look, I don't want to downplay the people's death, but as I said, it's been isolated, right? It's just going to be these few folks. It'll burn through and we'll help them where they can. We'll give them supply. That's your role as well, right? You can tend to them, but we can hop back in and push forward.
Not quite yet. There's the military camp down the road, and they thought they were doing a pretty good job as well of keeping it isolated, but it jumps pretty quickly. It's a fast spread, and you know I reckon I'm sure you've done everything you can. You know everything you think you need to do. So what I'd like to do is take a look around. Maybe I can give a couple of suggestions to help keep people safe, and then I just want to take a few samples from the sickies you got. And from there, we might be able to get a cure happening.
From there, you need samples first. Then how long will a cure take? You didn't bring that with you? What's your purpose here? Were we not brought in as experts?
Yeah, that's right. And
surely you've dealt with this sort of thing before. Disease spreads all the time. How do you not have solutions for this?
Yeah. We've got solutions for diseases that already exist, but this might be a brand new one, is what we're seeing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Can you
let me know if I need to go back and explain anything, because it's pretty confusing. It's all right.
Can you make either a charm or a persuasion roll, Dr. Sam?
I think
He's doing a great job.
He's doing a phenomenal job.
Sam is talking. I am just going to stand here and wait until someone gets aggressive, and then I'm going to point a gun in their face and be like, pipe down, Chachi. Pipe down.
Shut up.
I'm usually going for persuade, because I'm like... Yeah, here is I see your point of view, and here is the logical extension of that. Is
you
what
just
I'm
happen
going
to be very charming. Yeah, go ahead and make a persuasion roll. Okay. Unless you want to spend luck, I can see ways you could push that as well. You could, more fervently make your point and risk actually making an adversary or an enemy here. Otherwise, if you don't want to spend the luck, he's going to try and usher you along. He'll say, fine, I can give you a tour of the plantation, we'll get you set up, but understand I'm on a deadline here. If we don't get things moving soon, it's going to be my head. So let's push along quickly as possible. I'll check in with you, and we need to get supplies from down below. So if you can get in contact with your captain.
I'm inclined to push it just because of what he said.
Hell yeah. What do you say?
Also,
what do you say?
Get things moving, it'll be in your head. I'm going to say.
Can I also jump in depending on... Actually, go ahead, Jackson, and I might tack something on the end of that.
And so I'm going to say, all right, yeah, if I can't do my job properly, it'll be your head anyway. That's the thing.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, Mr. Chaosium. Are your deadlines more important, or is not being dead important?
Okay.
And depending on the pushed roll, it's either going to be persuasive or it's going to be threatening.
Both.
Oh, well done. All right, nice. It's enough to give him pause. And as he stands under the beating sun, and in the silence, you can hear the soft wails of the sick carrying on the wind. It's enough to kind of remind him of the real situation here. He takes off his hat, and with his hair stuck sweatily to his scalp, he peels it back and says, "Fine, listen, I'll show you around. We'll get you set up. Please, anything you can do to hurry along the process will be appreciated, but
If you have some people to assist our companion there to set up a medical device that's going to analyze the samples, assist the man getting stuff down from our vehicle. The sooner we get this set up and the sooner we get the samples, the sooner we will be able to analyze this, get you a cure, and get you and your employees back to work."
Excellent. There are people and they can be helping. He immediately begins to send for people nearby to help to unload. Dr. Sam, you immediately realize this is going to bring more people into the isolated area and possibly risk infection. You might want to minimize that.
Yeah. Before we get underway, let's I wouldn't mind having a quick look around and just see what kind of infection control protocols are in place and see what we can make a bit more airtight. Is that all right?
Certainly. Why don't you follow me and your friend can unload the device, or you can... What is the device?
It's an analyzer.
Good. So I'll bring
take some of the samples we collect, and
Technology.
it's
Yes.
the latest. It's super swish.
Okay. So you're going to leave Shapiro monitoring the radio for the time being. You're not going to unload just yet. Is that right?
No, but...
Or do you want to unload into the...
Shapiro can unload. We won't get any help just yet.
Well, that was my question or my suggestion was that we get people to help Shapiro unload the machine because it is heavy and I think it needs sort of it's a couple of boxes. They don't necessarily need to go into the isolation area if we're not already in there, but at least to help him get it out of the vehicle and get that process started and then go as far as they can before they get... Because I assumed we didn't park in the isolation area. We sort of parked nearer to the village.
Shapiro's suggestion would be to set
seen...
analyzer up in the isolation area, though. So also, because then you can tend to people and help
Well, in
them.
that case, good old...
From what we've seen so far, isolation areas aren't working very well.
Yeah, they put it over there.
Against this thing.
What are you talking about? It's
they
way
can't
over there.
put the sick tent over there.
People barely...
And...
Oh, sorry, you can see it. Sorry, yeah. Yes, all true. So do you want him to go and start unloading it into this sick area? That would be his intent.
Yes, I think we should, we've gotten the agreement of the locals to at least keep this. They want this. They want a cure, so I think it is reasonable to set this up here. Whether Shapiro goes and sets it up in the isolation area or whether he just sets it up here, I cannot. That is a question for Dr. Sam.
Set it up here. No reason to send anyone over to the sick area if they don't need to be there.
Okay. All right. He will be shown into the house then, and help to unload the vehicle, the machine, and begin to set it up. So that'll be put up in just a side room or something. So we'll park him there for the time being.
Be safer in a house as well.
Yeah. As Kazim begins to tour you around the area, he's gotten out a handkerchief or something and is using it to occasionally cover his mouth and nose before blotting at his brow. And the two of you are following along in the full white outfits, masks and everything. Clearly two different levels of availability of PPE, but also concern. He walks you around the grounds, and you see that most of the sick have been isolated in the medical tents. They're just improvised canvas camping equipment or something of all different shapes and sizes, and the people are collected inside. One thing that you'll immediately spot, both of you, and Dr. Sam probably more concerned by, is that there is a clear crossover point. There is a single well for this entire area. You would actually, from what Kazim says, this is also what would have supplied the survey team, although they're being blockaded at the moment. So anyone ill coming to get water will chance to cross over with someone, so the actual isolation doesn't necessarily work. There is an egress point. From there, he begins to walk around towards the tents themselves. You can see that people are scattered. Not too many, in the shade, and clearly unwell. And from inside the tents, you can hear the groans of the deeply unwell and the dying. Occasionally, someone exits. One of the local farmers, men and women, dressed sort of like cold, like wet towels, like to push along their heads to keep down some of the heat, walking between with sort of buckets of water and rags to clean the unwell. And at one point, you'll see a canvas cloth open as two people, again, no real equipment, no gloves or anything, carrying up one of the corpses of someone who has passed and hauling them towards a mass grave, towards the rears. The corpse is almost unrecognizable as human. It is so thin, with loss of fluid, yellowed by the disease, and blistered with pustules.
So 2 things. One, we know that there's a protest going on. What kind of weaponry do these individuals have in this area? Like, is it just pitchforks, or do I see the occasional rifle?
They make an actually make a spot hidden roll. On it, immediately you'll notice that they do not appear to be armed. They appear to just be
very good. No. Cursory glance. The other thing I'd like to do is lean over to Sam and just say, if the well is their main source of water and this virus disease, if it's waterborne by any chance, I wonder if it's worth taking a sample of the water to find out whether it is currently infected and whether or not that could potentially have been where the infection started.
Yep.
If there's one thing I know about warfare, unfortunately, it's poisoning wells is a very good way to make life very miserable for a lot of people.
I reckon it's a good place to start.
Listen, if there's nothing else I can help you with, I have some work to be getting through. I'll be located in the house. If you have any questions, stop by, and if there's anything I can do to speed this process along, let me know.
Oh, well, there is actually. I would go through all the infection control protocols that I implemented down at the military camp and see what we can tighten up around here. I can spend some time doing that.
His immediate instinct is he brushes you off and says, well, then apply them, do what you will. I don't understand this, sir. I am a farmer first and foremost. I can manage my crops, but beyond that, this is your area of expertise. Apply what you will.
All right, great. As long as I've got your authority to implement anything I think you need to keep people safe, that's what I'll do.
If it gets things moving, then do it. Although, good luck coordinating these unfortunate souls.
I thought that was your job.
The ill are isolated. I've done my job. We will keep things moving. I don't see what you would have of me.
Just as long as what I recommend gets done. That's all I'd ask.
Recommend it to them.
Great.
For
Do I
everyone.
get the impression that this guy isn't really in control of this place? Is that
You could make a psychology roll.
He just doesn't want to be here. What's going on? I'm saying to him, I need your workers to do what I say, and he's like, okay, go tell them to do what you say. It's a weird reading. That's what I'm.
My read is that what he's implying is the only people that need to know or need to do this are the people who are infected, and not everyone.
Yeah.
That's my read. Is he doesn't realize it needs to be everyone.
Practicing the unique form of leadership, don't lead from the back, which is just fantastic. You know?
Yeah, just don't lead.
Go for lunch. Well, first of all,
What is this guy's deal?
What's it? Sorry, he was born under a waxing moon, and he always had trouble with his father. he is nominally in charge here. That said, he's clearly begun to lose control of the situation. That protest is being done by yet more of his workers. He hasn't put a stop to it, nor is he actively backing it. You can just see a man who is in the center of a storm of chaos and has just gone, well, fuck it. If we can't go back to the way it was, then I don't know what we're gonna do. He is nominally, he absolutely should be in control. He probably no longer is. He also does not understand the nature of this disease and kind of sees that as, okay, you 4, 5 are here. The problem will be solved. I'm going back to like checking over papers for like once we can get things up and running again, as soon as things return to the way they were a week or two ago.
I don't think that's a
With that
horrible
insight, I
outcome.
would say you can probably get a bonus dice if you try and, twist him into other directions. But you generally get a sense of, it's not just apathy, it's also confusion and just lack of understanding or of the severity of the situation. But
So
he
he
really
not
just
only
doesn't know.
has authority, but he's relinquished his responsibility.
And he also does it. He's not going into the first aid tent, like the isolated areas, to like give to. That's basically just being handled by like volunteers and just the other sick. The ones well enough to help. The ones too sick.
Good. All right. Well, I get the impression he's no longer someone worth talking to.
Honestly, if the outcome of this is he goes into a study and starts accounting and he's out of the way, I think that is perfectly reasonable. We are all going to be in PPE if hopefully he doesn't get sick, but if he does, at least he's isolated in his own house.
Okay.
I heard with great power comes great responsibility and was like, nah, not me.
I have no power
Don't want
and no
that.
responsibility whatsoever.
The dream.
Yes.
So he will head back towards the house where Shapiro is unloading the analyzer. Can I get intents from the two of you, and then we'll check in on the others and see what's going on.
Well, since what was this guy's name?
Kazim.
Kazim?
Chaosium?
Kazin.
Very good. If he's not going to help, I'll have to find someone who will. So I kind of just wasted that push persuade roll. Like I persuaded him to listen to me, but no one listens to him. So now I've got to find someone else who I can persuade to listen to me, who people will listen to.
I mean, the device is in his house, and I feel like he's persuaded enough to try and make sure that it doesn't get, destroyed. So I take that.
So
as a
you are
win.
right. What if what? It was a good point because you did succeed the role earlier. He is still
true.
apathetic in general. But what he will say is that if you are looking for if you wish someone to help, there is Ayman who has basically spearheaded these protesters. He's one of the workers, and you could try and speak to him. And in the aid tents, there is a woman called Yana who is helping to ease the sick and the dying. You're free to speak with either of them.
Yana is in the sick tent. Great.
And Iman is with the protesters, or
Ayman,
he
yeah,
organizes?
he's with them. Yeah,
Okay.
nominally calibrating
The
them,
union
but-
leader.
Yeah.
My intent is to relay the information about Iman via radio to the other two. There's a fellow by the name of Iman. If you can get him on side, that might help us. And otherwise, I am entirely playing bodyguard for Sam. Like, I'm assisting moving things. I'll move medical supplies into the tents. I'll follow along behind Sam, and essentially I'm just making sure that, no one fucks with him.
Noted.
He is the most important person on the team right now, and
Stop.
And Sam, what's your intent then?
Just get as many people to listen to me.
Okay.
Which is a terrible thing to say, but I'm doing it to help.
Yeah. So start trying to
Find out. If this Iman is like the protest leader. I just want to find whoever's going to listen.
so you could help towards the protest, if that's what you want to do.
the protest is with the other two.
That's up the road.
So
Gotcha.
probably chat with the medical tent person, Yana.
Probably a good start.
Because we're
Yeah.
headed there anyway, I assume.
That's
You're
what we'll
kind of
do.
nearby. Okay,
That's
so the two of you are going to
what
head in
we'll
towards the sick
do.
tents and look around there. All right, perfect. We will step away ever so briefly to Hubert and Minnie, who are trundling up the path. It's clearly a diversion. The core road that was originally forged goes to the farm. This is a glorified goat track, which has been sort of trodden enough to see some use, that heads up towards the survey camp. As you get towards it, you can see that there is just basically a line of people, most of them just sitting in the road. They carry no signs nor any clear weapons, but there's about 15 or 16 of them, enough to make passage impossible. Especially by car. And as you approach, they begin to pull themselves up into standing positions and clearly, not link arms, but clearly just stand in your way and stop you coming forward. What would the two of you like to do?
If we can have had a brief word beforehand,
of course.
I'll just say, I reckon the approach we go is that we just be as pleasant as possible. We explain that we're aid workers. We can say that we have a doctor who is currently down, treating people, and we saw the protest. We've heard about it. We're just trying to get as much information as possible. Lie of the land. We just play polite, tell us everything kind of thing.
We're collecting samples and
You do also know about Iman, unless there's a time skippy thing.
This is simultaneous, so you won't have the name yet.
All right, cool. Well, in which case, and I probably pull over, request a nip from your little.
Just a little one, yes. Not enough to get drunk, I assume, but yes, go right ahead.
Well, I am driving, so.
Yes. Oh, of course. I believe you should do the talking unless we have to start lying to people.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Apparently, I can come off as abrasive.
No, not
No, never. But still, I think you should take the lead on this one, unless we do need to start spinning some fibs.
I might point to you.
No offense, Hubert, but you're not great at that.
In which case, I might point to you as the expert. Whenever there's something, I'm just going to say, I hand you towards my scientific consultant.
Minnie also can loosely translate.
I can translate.
At least get you the directions. I was looking up the pulp talent earlier, which is what Minnie has, which you're referring to. Anyone can drink a ton of alcohol and reduce sanity hits in Call of Cthulhu. Minnie's one is you could spend 5 points of luck to negate the penalty dice. So to be clear, the term is, I've closed it now, but the term is something like excessive alcohol. Minnie is getting blasted. So you are.
I was hoping because I
feel like I did that earlier.
What?
Okay.
I feel like I did that a fair bit earlier. I'm getting blasted. I'm sorry.
I have a narrative nip, but remain below the legal limit to drive a car through with a bomb in it,
But Minnie, meanwhile, you will reduce any sanity hit, so I think we'll put you at 2 or less for the time being. You will just completely ignore, as your mind is just cloudy enough to ride the buzz through all this bullshit.
Yeah, I'm just a bit tipsy.
Yeah.
Not like full blasted, but a bit tipsy.
No. And also, the luck is you basically having control of yourself, but you don't take a penalty, so you're fully, motor skills intact. Okay. You pull up.
I'm a shit driver anyway, so.
You pull up and the folks stand and do not approach. Do not waver. The car cannot proceed unless you are willing to take aggressive action.
I think I also pull over shy of them, sort of demonstrating I'm not trying to get through. Get out. I'll wave, I'll come over, I'll introduce myself. I'll say, does anyone speak English here? Otherwise, my companion can translate. We're hoping to speak to someone. Is someone in charge?
As you head up and walk towards, you're a large and fairly imposing figure. Immediately you can see ripples spreading through the crowd as people whisper back and forth. And the vibe that comes off it is immediately sour to you. People are not openly hostile, but clearly you are unwelcome and not desired. As you come up and begin to talk, though, someone steps forward and says, I can speak some English. They are a older bloke dressed in plain, sort of rough spun clothing, with longer hair, and they keep just knotted behind their head. They are old enough that they do require a walking aid, so they've got a cane that they rest on, and their face has clearly been weathered by the sun over long years. Go ahead.
Excellent. My name is Hubert. Is there something I can call you?
I'm Aman. and I can talk to you for some of these people, but not all. You need to turn around and leave. We will not let you through. We will not allow reinforcements, resources to arrive to these people beyond.
Okay, we're not trying to get through. We're just here to talk to you. Okay, that's it. I'm not. We'll turn around and we'll leave. You don't need to worry about that. We just arrived, just a couple of hours ago. Here, we're part of an aid team working with doctors to try and help some of the sick people. We've got most of the team is down now, treating people. We saw what was happening here, and we've just come up. We're trying to get a full understanding of the situation. So far, we've only spoken to people from the charter company, so we want to get here the full story, so we understand what's happening, so we can best help everybody.
Okay. Can you make a charm roll? Success will begin the process, but the language barrier and the terms of entry are going to make this difficult to make much headway.
If this is more appropriate for persuade, I'm also happy to go with that.
I think there's actually probably more charm because it's you're kind of going for like on the same foot out of the gate.
Sure.
It would be my read unless you want to push for persuade.
Charm's fine. Let's go for charm.
Because it's kind of trying to put yourselves on like okay, all right.
That is a hard success, and I might give you 4 points of luck for an extreme.
Okay.
While we're here.
Yeah, no, I'll take it. This is not an easy situation to navigate. And although Iman is fairly calm and fairly reserved, he does not... The entire group does not reflect that. Some of them are openly glaring at you, and some of them have sort of clenched their fists into knuckles, looking between you, and you also begin to get a sense looking behind them towards the survey team, and then also sometimes it's up into the mountain beyond. A couple of them mutter under their breath, and Minnie, could you actually make a language Malay check? And you've got that dictionary, which I think we said brings you up to a base 30 as you thumb through it. Without even a success, you definitely catch some profanity, which seems to be directed at Mr. Smith.
Yeah, it's gonna roll my.
You can also just roll base D100 if you want to, and we'll do under 30 for the success.
Well, obviously I'm gonna like that.
Okay. All right. So it's 4 points. So you hear a couple of profanity points directed at Hubert. The other one you hear is, Moses, you hear a word repeated several times that at first is unclear and you kind of have to thumb through it to find it. They are speaking of a curse or something, and they seem to be, they talk about it expanding, continuing, rolling forward, driven by Hubert or those behind him, and it's sort of roughly just enough that it's kind of on under just around. They probably don't necessarily think you can understand it. That is a success, though, an extreme success, Hubert. So Aman pauses and says, I appreciate you coming to us at least, but you have to understand your help here could make things so much worse. These folks behind us, their arrival began all of this. They arrived and the mountain rejected them. First there were tremors, then another. Some of them died and they still did not take the hint. They brought their wounded back to camp, and although we allowed them to exist for a time, it was shown to be the wrong decision. The mountain gave us gifts for a time, recently, after the tremors, and we took this to mean that we were to reject these people, that their deaths had brought us bounties, fresh fruits delivered from the trees, and they were delicious, succulent, and dripping. But as time bore on, they withered on the vine and gave birth to foul maggots that crawled along the ground. Now, this. Look, is this not devastation? Look what's happening to my people. Over here, the tents are filled with the sick and the dying, and until these men leave, this will not stop. The mountain will not be appeased, and the spirits will grow only angrier. You should not have come here. You will only make this worse.
Okay. Well, Hubert's immediately thinking, when we were across the other side of the world in South America, we saw, that there is definitely like links where the Serpent people have been, connected to, civilization for a long time. So it's very possible that there is sort of like a kind of religious thing happening here or something. So I'll say quickly, yeah, sure. If you want us to go, we can go. I and my companions, we can leave. To be clear, we're here treating sick people, but if you feel it's best, we can leave. The North Borneo Charter Company, we're not affiliated with them, we can't make them go. So is there anything else we can do to help? We can try and talk to them. But I would also like to put to you that... Are you sure it's just leaving? Are you sure that there's not something else? Could there be an ongoing offense that is happening? If the survey team caused a problem, has that problem been fixed?
We've seen something like this before. I mean, knowing that they're talking about a curse, probably expecting that the foreigners who have come in have potentially scoffed at talk of a curse, which is why they're muttering about it, not saying it out loud. We have seen something like this before, and to be clear, we don't have reinforcements. We don't have supplies. The supplies we do have, terribly sorry, we need them. So we're not interested in supplying an army with anything, sorry, to them. But we've seen devastation, not exactly like this, but something like this before, and my companion's correct that if this survey company has caused damage, simply ejecting them is not going to fix the damage potentially. We just don't want anyone else to get hurt.
Perhaps ejecting them will not solve everything, but it can begin to appease the spirit that has been angered. There is... If you are here to help, then we welcome your aid. If you can help some of these people to rest or bring a cure, then we welcome it. But these people must leave. And unfortunately, it is their own that keep them here. We would send them down the mountain, but they will be met by gunfire on the orders of their own captain. No one is to leave this area. If you can take them away, if you can remove them, then
we can try and sort something out there. Yeah, if we can, I'm
sorry, are you saying that the people from this survey company have been threatened with gunfire from their own...
Already, 2 people who went down the mountain have been shot. Those that tried to leave, they're keeping us up here. They're forcing us to be here. I know not if we are sacrifices or something. I do not know their intent, but we cannot leave this place. They will not allow it.
This is the quarantine procedure that they're referring to. Just okay, cool, yeah. Okay.
And they will not leave. They tell us that they've been commanded to stay. We tried to ask some of them to go down. They drove a ways down the road and then returned with all of their equipment.
Okay, well, we should get a hold of Lancaster.
I don't think he cares. I think he's making them stay up here.
We should confirm that because he has agreed to adhere to the quarantine procedures that have been placed by Dr. Sam. So maybe Dr. Sam can compel him to, if we can get authority to bring them out, would you let us pass to take them away?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Take them away.
Yeah, we'll get on our radios. We're going to have a word with the North Borneo Charter Company, see if we can figure this out, and we'll let you know before we take any action.
In the meantime, and I'm going to start, I'm assuming we've got a lot of extra PPE. We established that last time. We've got like stacks and stacks
You've
and
got like
stacks of
shields and masks
PPE.
and gloves and things, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to start taking those out and offering them to like just not approaching too close if they look a little twitchy, but like leaving them up in an easily accessible spot. Masks and gloves and just some basic PPE. In the meantime, anything we can do to stop people from getting sick. I assume this doesn't count as the supplies you were referring to or reinforcements, just the fewer people who well, die horribly, the better, I guess.
Can you make I think it would probably be persuasion or medicine or first aid or something roll here. The general one is just they don't necessarily understand. It's just not, they don't necessarily know to wear them. Or, sorry, you can explain it, but they don't necessarily appreciate the severity or what it will do. Or you have to explain the whole nature of diseases spreading and everything.
I'm going to be truthful about shit.
Either way, they will be passed out, and you can explain the context of it, but this is sort of giving them the severity of the situation and hopefully beginning to get them to grok it.
Could I dramatically embellish Dr. Sam's retelling of how severe this is and how it's likely to, we're not sure it's going to get off the island simply because it is going to burn out by killing everybody on the island. And fast talk it, just dramatically embellish and try and scare the shit out of them.
You could try that. Here's the risk, is they are already seem to be tying some of this to a curse or something, which you've kind of...
I'm just going to go first aid, see if they get it.
Go for it. Oh, holy shit.
Oh, nice.
They get it. They get it. I've read a book and I have memorized the book and I'm regurgitating the book.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's also, you're able to get a few keywords into their own language, so you can actually speak it to them so they can understand it in their own context. You pivot it. Yeah. You disperse some first aid things. They will a couple of times kind of say oh no, most of this would be needed over in the aid camp over there, but that Dr. Sam's already over there.
More.
And before you either go further in or go back towards the tent, Aban will say there are sick in the survey camp as well, some of their own. So you may need to keep some for yourselves.
Oh, we've got plenty. We've got enough for ourselves.
Okay. Where do you want to go from here? You will be allowed past
the radio
if you want to
through.
continue. Oh yes, at this point, and you'll read. Yep. I like to say at this point you probably all gather at the radio to at least talk back and forth, so you can coordinate your next steps as you please.
We are allowed past. Okay.
Yes.
We'll relay that. If the situation, we're out of earshot of the barricade, obviously.
Yeah, you all back up, and between the radio you can talk back and forth. It's a little fucked, but functionally you're good.
Yeah. The situation here is extremely tense, but we've been allowed past the blockade if we would like to go up to the survey camp, conditionally that we work to get the surveyors out of here. The locals desperately want them out.
To be clear as well, we need to talk to Lancaster and figure out exactly what's going on here, because it sounds like something is not adding up based on the sort of behavior of the soldiers versus the behavior of the enforcement of a quarantine, etc., etc. I think we need to get authority from Lancaster to get those people, the surveyors, out and bring them to a secure place where they can be quarantined.
Dr. Sam will you spoke with Lancaster. The point of the quarantine is those fuckers aren't leaving there. They are in quarantine currently. It's up here. You're in the quarantine. This is stopping it spreading to the town below. That's what the blockade lower down was to do. They're not supposed to leave the mountain.
Right. Here's a quick question. How long ago was this blockade set up?
It was... So it is the 24th. It was set up about 5 or 6 days ago.
Doctor, does this match from a virulence perspective? I thought the whole point of this is that it burns through people very, very quickly. How can the surveyor team be still alive?
Oh, it was 3 or 4 days, wasn't it?
Oh, sorry. It's lethality of, so this is still highly lethal in turnaround. But yeah, it's been about, since first sighting, it's been about 8 days or so since it was first detected. Deaths only started happening about 3 or 4 days after that. So it's only been spreading for a
In
relatively short period.
addition, it's
Still
lethal
pretty
when
cooked.
Yeah.
it's lethal when you get it, but not everyone has it yet. There are some people
Yeah.
who haven't.
And also there have been people that have been in contact that don't seem to have caught it. Like there's always bounce off
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we need to have a chat with the survey team, and if that means we need to convince Lancaster to quarantine people from his company, or at least the company he's supporting, in their quarantine area, which I think is a reasonable suggestion, given that we've already established that the disease has made its way into the military encampment, so it's not
It's
exactly
already
like...
there, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's a little risky. That is bringing it down closer to the massive population of the
Yeah.
town below.
yes.
But it's already in the camp.
It
and the
is,
military
although
camp's being supplied by the
light.
town, isn't it?
It is. This is definitely increasing the risk of it getting out.
That is understandable. Regardless, I don't massively care whether we do actually move them from where they are or whether we don't.
I assume they have tents. Can we not just...
What I think is most important, you mentioned a curse, Miss Sinclair.
Correct, yes.
And similar to...
Very much discussing the curse. Yeah.
And similar in nature, at least potentially, to the curse that we were referencing, we heard referenced in wherever the fuck we were the first time we did this.
Very similar language, yes. I do believe
Bolivia.
that this is another case
Bolivia,
where in Bolivia they have a positive relationship with at least one of these kinds of entities.
So something to be worth considering then. If the curse and these spirits are indeed the Serpentine peoples, followers of, what was it again? Children of the Night?
In the inner night.
Thank you, the Inner Night. Then it stands to reason that the survey team got very close to something that these people wanted. And the way that they get rid of those people is to scare the townsfolk into believing that their spirits are annoyed at the survey team. My theory is that the survey team found something or got very close to finding something, and this biological weapon was potentially released as a way to stop them getting closer, in addition to firing up the locals. What that does
they found
mean...
the biological weapon and accidentally released it.
Potentially, yes, but I suspect it's something different.
I have
If the serpent people have been here for longer than people have, then yeah, they've probably been planning on it. And
In addition, rumbling of mountains. Is this a active or semi-active volcano? Keeper dearest.
I assume I would know that.
Yeah, you would know that. You rolled really well. It is not.
So there is no good
There
reason.
should not be a rumbling. No, that's really quite strange.
Which then
Earthquake or landslide would be the closest one, and those do happen occasionally in the region, but they are uncommon. And there were
The thing about that, though, is that an earthquake in this region would it requires tectonic plates, which this would be a volcano if earthquakes were common here. So there is really no good reason. There is no good geological reason for there to be trying.
And the survey team, from what we understand, was surveying close to the mountain. The mountain is what decided to start shaking. So I think what we're looking for, if we're looking for where these delightful Serpentine people are, is potentially in the mountain.
So we need
or
to get the
nearby.
survey team out of there anyway.
I have one other angle, right?
Yes,
Hear me
Mr.
out. Of the crackling radio. So we know that when we were in Bolivia, the captain of the local soldiers, we ascertained, when we killed him, was a serpent person. And
We ascertained just before we killed them. but
in the
yes.
process of killing him.
In the process of
That's a weird
he
fucking
was,
lizard.
the soldiers that he was working with were enchanted in some way. They were completely overcome. And they were going around and they were looking for and activating, the same things that we were to try and get into the temple. Like they were trying to get in, it seemed like. What if this is just exactly the same situation? A serpent person is trying to get into that mountain in the same way that they were trying to get into the temple in Bolivia. They have gone and collected a local group of soldiers to lend themselves legitimacy. In this case, the survey team. Maybe they've uncovered something which has been released, or maybe they are working to get inside the mountain and are releasing this plague and putting up the quarantine to buy themselves time to operate. I think the survey team, did they drive up? Can we get in contact with them through radio? I think it's very possible that they might not be
friendly.
good. Yeah.
Either way, I think we need to get in there, and I, rather than getting in contact with them, I would prefer to do it quietly. We have permission to go past the blockade.
If we plan to remove them, as I understand, we don't have blanket permission to go past. It is only if we have some form of agreement from the camp below to remove these people from the area.
We could sidestep.
There is one other option, which is go and look at the mountain.
Well, that's past the blockade.
You can just go into the forest.
You can
and go
technically,
up.
yeah.
We can't. Yeah,
sorry.
It can pretty quickly go to deep jungle.
And
can I make a navigation?
we've also got that. We've also got that path. I'm assuming also the path that we saw that was kind of bush beat through via monster went up the mountain.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was
for
thinking.
sure.
That's a good way to get us
That's
up.
the other thing we could do is forget the barricade and just
Go around.
there is a path. It has been cleared, not for us, not by us, but it's there.
I think if
Bypass
That's
the
a path to
Lancaster, who
follow.
is kind of a dick.
Oh,
it goes around the blockade, and also it's a bit might be a bit hairy to just follow the path on your own, but if we got eyes in the air and
That's true.
and following the path.
Yeah, and we can do that with a little bit more stealth, I suppose, than going unannounced if these survey team are indeed corrupted.
Yeah, because look, we got a time limit.
Circle around the back and.
If this is a situation as well, I mean, the last time we succeeded because we got into the temple and got to the heart of it first, so to speak. If
It does seem to be the focus, yes.
Kind of situation, then maybe we just rush straight for the objective. I don't know, like.
Well, then the question would be: do we take our little doomsday device with us?
Oh yes, definitely. I believe so, yes. I certainly don't want to leave it in a village full of people who may potentially be innocent. I think the further we go into this, the less likely we are to encounter innocent people, and thus doomsday device comes with us. The medical device, though, I do believe you were in the correct location to set that up. I would not set that up here. This is not a stable environment.
No, it has already been set up in the.
Set it running. See if
farm.
we can see what we can get from it with the samples we have.
Mr. Smith.
I think everything's been said. I think we should leave Shapiro overseeing the medical device. Two of you drive up to meet us at the
Monster
side
path.
I reckon we tear out one of the radios and we stick it as best as we can onto the light aircraft, and then the three of us on the ground in one car try to drive up and get as high as we can.
You're gonna get like 3 feet off the road.
This is a
you're not
walking
driving
only
that.
trick.
I mean,
If
I'm
it's
sorry.
a bathtub,
Did,
we might be
I was
able
gonna say, isn't there like a car in the center of the earth? And also, my drive auto is pretty good.
You could
Going
try.
up a mountain.
No, it's fine.
Physically a wall of trees.
No,
Has
we're
anyone
good.
You can
got
make the
any
roll. We'll see how
donkeys?
fucking far you get. I'm happy to do bathtub take 2. Sorry,
No,
happy was
I'm
not the
sure.
right word. I'm
This
I'm
is
sure our
genuinely
aviator
angry
has his
about
own
it.
radio, right? Like Sam has his own radio, and surely our
bathtub.
aviator has.
No, you don't have a radio on the flying machine.
No,
You
yeah.
brought the one with
I
you
just
last
took one
time.
up.
It'd be something you could look
Okay.
into including. And you
Well,
are right.
The
You
ones
could
in
try
the
and
car
wibble wobble
be
one
built
onto
in,
it.
would they? Would they be
Okay.
built in? They'd be like,
They
Objectives.
probably would be. It could be taken
well.
out, but it's there's roles involved and time.
wanna
Friends
have
and
a-
foes.
I want to have
Objectives.
a quick Stan Lee aside here. Hey, readers, if you're confused by the reference to a bathtub on a car at the center of the universe, check out the Cold Fire Within, our first
Yeah.
Cthulhu campaign on the Chaosium YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I'm done.
So,
Our objectives.
meet at the path, get up the mountain, figure out what's at the heart of all of this.
We don't yet have samples. We've got a few samples for the analyzers.
That's the one thing I have to do first.
We are going to, as much as Caduceus has asked us to investigate the root cause, there are still people who are going to die.
Yeah.
Unless everyone is happy and willing to bump the objective, try to find a cure down the list, I suggest we still consider that our primary objective. Secondary objective is to find out what on earth is going on here and try to put a stop to it.
Well, yes, definitely collect some samples down there and get the machine going as much as we can. I suppose get the analyzer going as much as we can.
The plantation is closer to the path the bush bashing path than
they're
about the same. Okay,
they're pretty close. It's about 20 minutes in the truck. So pretty manageable.
Well, I'm not trained in medicine. Neither am I trained in putting together a light aircraft. So, Sam, yes, we need you for both things and you're one person. So,
I mean, you're
Have the bird
pretty
assemble
handy
the
with lots of
aircraft.
stuff, Carter. I wonder if with schema, with assistance, with a bit of instruction, Dr. Sam.
I have mechanical repair
Yeah,
above
you could
base.
probably
It's
do
not
easy bit.
amazing, but I have it. I do also have
I actually
slightly
think,
above base first aid.
I actually think the task of collecting some samples from the sickies will be a bit easier than putting the bird
Oh,
together.
I suspect so.
Especially because you'll have some medical staff at least around.
Right, well, it's not I'm not entirely trained in this, but it's not my first rodeo. So if you're willing to go over a handful of things before we begin, I can start collecting those samples for you, Sam, if you want to put together your
Definitely.
flying machine.
Well, we'll meet you up at the site then, and we can go from there.
Mini and Hubert, what do you want to do, I guess, in the meantime? Because it's going to take this is like a couple hours of work at least. So.
Well, if I've got the time, I suspect I will spend a bit more time with the tracks and doing the library sheet you mentioned.
Oh,
I could
yeah,
do
yeah,
before.
fuck yeah, good call. That works, 100%. Mrs. Smith,
I got
you could try and get in contact with Lancaster via radio.
Lancaster hates me because
Yeah,
I
he
was
does.
Yeah, no.
that role.
You golf looking.
No, I got a much better
Fuck
idea.
Lancaster.
I got a couple of hours, a high survival skill, a high drive auto skill,
Oh my God.
and some tools. I gotta see how far we can get that car up.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I mean, we even know there's a
shit.
spare car coming, so if I crash it, we're fine.
Get the winch out. Okay, awesome. Love that. All right.
You're going to make the path easier.
Yeah. So we're gonna have Lieutenant Carter. You're gonna make a first aid roll for me. I don't everyone roll yet. I'm just gonna tee us up. Lieutenant Carter, it's gonna be a first aid roll. As you go into the camp, you can find Yana, and she can help you to gather samples. You'll be quickly swallowed up by this place of languishing misery. People are deeply ill, and the buckets of fluid that are being drained and tossed into the nearby area fill the place with a smell close to rot and death. That said, samples are easily come by. Yeah.
It's a delightful description. I have been in trenches. This is horrible.
That was for the audience.
It's not.
Yeah.
Oh no, I know. I'm just being very clear. The card is like, oh, this is awful. I have also been on battlefield
100%.
side medical tents.
There is kind of a
It's
different
gross.
there's a different
Yeah.
beat to it. It's not even just the grossness of it as well. It's this there is a horror to it in that these people being assailed by an enemy they neither understand nor have the means to combat. They are completely at the mercy of chaos and the elements, and those few people well enough to tend to them are only days from meeting that same fate. That said, you can easily gather samples. When you return to Shapiro in the house, he has set up the viral analyzer, this weird tubey, almost Zeusian contraption of like open funnels and zips and zops. And Dr. Sam rolled, I think it might have been a crit last session on medicine to get the jump start on a possible cure. Do you remember that? If it wasn't a crit, it was at least an extreme. So you've kind of got
no memory of this.
You've kind of got things moving in the right direction. He's set up, and you can begin to portage some of those over, and he'll be able to run the analyzer while you're on your expedition. And if you're only, he will tell you to probably run for about. Probably it should be done by sometime tonight, so like 6 or 7 hours. So by the time night falls, we should have the first stages and we can begin to change. So if you want to meet him then. It was a crit. We have a clip to prove it. Thank you, chat.
Hey.
So you will have the means to start possibly dispensing an antidote come nightfall. We'll come back to that. Dr. Sam, you begin to break down your contraption. How many Allen keys does it use?
They're all standardized to a single Allen key.
Just the one.
So that's the good news. Yes,
It's got like a big, massive box of tools which you snap open. There's the foam inlay and one Allen key.
It's all built
One
in.
Allen key.
Like one of those,
It's one Allen key with a wrench on the other end, so it's
one
a
of the
single
nice
tool,
ones.
2 uses.
one of
Very
those like
cool.
leather like sheath cases for like a sword or something as you roll open.
And it's just one Allen key.
So you can assemble this easily. You will have the gawping onlookers that always are attracted by this cool ass device. Just looking over it as it's being assembled. So there's no roll required here because you're just going through standard process. Would you like to try electrical repair to try and move one of the radios across from the car? I will say failure is going to mean there's a radio not in one of the cars. Actually, that's probably the fumble range. You can just attempt it with a standard roll, and if you push it, that'll be the.
Is this
penalty.
Because
If you want to get a
these aren't,
radio
like-
into the.
This is because these are we're a few years away from like little walkie-talkies. These are like big.
Yeah, these
bulky
are
things.
these
Is
are
that the
built
go?
in. These are built into the,
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
vehicle. So
yeah.
if you're taking it out and moving it across, power it up, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, let's give it a red hot go. I think I've got no electrical
Okay,
repair.
don't roll just yet.
but-
Well, but I'll seed you up. So you're going to make an electrical repair roll to move some of that.
Oh no,
across.
I got some electrical repair because I got an amazing success.
Oh, hell yeah.
In the first chapter, and I've got 18. Let's do it.
You just do it again. You just keep. That's how you skill things up.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Elsewhere, at the tracks, Hubert pulls the car up and unloads Minnie in just a pile of books and a small camping chair onto the side of the road. Revs the engine and probably gets about 4 feet into a tree. But you're gonna try it. So are you attempting to actually refit the vehicle for off-road use, Hubert, or are you just having a crack at it and seeing how far you can get?
I am driving up and down looking for like passages. I'm getting out some maps and I'm confirming that, I reckon that actually along here, if we can just break through this wall of trees, we'll hit a rich vein of road.
No trees,
path. And then I'm getting out like survival hatchets and a little hacksaw and a sandwich, and I'm going to town like clearing undergrowth. I'm doing the full bit. I got several hours. What else am I gonna
I
do?
love it. All right, so
Prospecting for roads and like gas stations.
You want survival? You want drive
There's a
order? You want
shell.
navigate? I got it all. I'll hit you with it.
find a servo midway. Okay, I feel like navigation seems most appropriate, but I survival also makes sense for me. I was actually, you have higher survival, right, Hubert?
Of all of those, my highest is the driving, but all of them are 50 or above.
So navigate, so driving you'll actually do for moving. I think, go ahead, it'll be survival, I think, because actually navigation, you get it out, you look at the maps and go, yeah, there's no fucking chance this is working. They don't have super detailed maps of the area. There aren't any roads up here. That said, actually, that's not true because there are a couple other scattered farms and things. The problem is none of them go deeper up beyond the area, and none can support a car. It's probably gonna be survival to see how far you can get. And lastly, Minnie, as you go back over these tracks and everything, you'll thumb through some of the notes you've taken and see if anything can spark what you studied before. Noting again, these are not mythos tomes, so still limited kind of information. It's if you found something similar in one of your own books or something.
And what I was doing in the downtime previous was looking at, I was going to the library and looking specifically at old and potentially outdated books of kind of flora and fauna noted by people
crypto shit.
before people have gone, no, this is what a goanna looks like, or this is what a Komodo dragon looks like.
Yeah,
Basically, people who saw lizard people, saw these mythos things, wrote about them because that's what they thought the animal was. That sort of stuff, where weird shit has made its way into actual texts and later been corrected because it's clearly just weird shit.
100%.
Yep. And I'm looking for weird shit that may in fact be true.
Specifically tied to 12-foot giant
fucking lizard
tree
things,
tearing lizard guys. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, them.
Okay, so first, Lieutenant Carter, can you please make a first aid roll?
Certainly.
Okay.
Yes, again.
Success. As you go through all of it, fairly confronting, but as you said, you kind of knew what you were getting into. This wasn't a surprise at this point. You're still very much keenly aware of the state of things, and with each passing day, hour even, things get grimmer for the folks on the ground. That said, you can source samples with assistant and port them back to Shapiro. He's set up in a single room, and he's also got like an eye line on the door and the window, just making sure that no one sneaks up on him and takes his shit. When you drop those off, as I said, he'll say, you should be good for come nightfall. We should begin to have some information. The thing begins to...
Very good.
He can source more.
Yes, Carter is aware of this kind of, like, people be sick, people be dying, it'd be bad. They're not much, I'm sure, to everyone's surprise. They're not heartless. They do care about people. It's just the way they show that is, I'm going to train you to kill people really efficiently so that when everything is said and done, you're the one still standing, because I don't want you to die. That's where they come from.
Lieutenant Carter's love language is murder.
Look, arts might be as well, but that's fine.
Yeah, hell yeah. And yeah, this is sort of the best, because you can't shoot disease, but this is the closest you can get to building a tool to combat it. So this is 100%.
I shot one disease. It just was contained in a person.
Yes, true.
So,
all right, Dr. Sam, can you please make an electrical repair roll for us?
I thought you'd never ask. Here it comes. Whap. No.
No. Would you like to push the
Worth a
roll?
shot.
Disassemble it from the car and figure it out on the fly.
And that means there's no radio. We
In
have
one
no
of the
radio
cars.
at all.
Yeah.
Do it. We've got two cars.
It could always
We're not
you
taking
could
the
put
car.
it back in later. Like you could
We're
just.
not even taking the car, are
Yeah,
we?
that's true.
So why would you need a radio in a car we're not taking?
Seems ridiculous.
You don't. I'm going to take that radio
hell yeah.
and break it. What? Not a fumble.
Yeah. Moments later, the plane is assembled, and you're standing there holding your Allen key and looking down at just an array of circuits and things. Okay, yeah, this isn't the tool for this. I need like pliers or something.
I'd
not
probably
prepared.
call Shapiro over and go, hey, so I had to go, but couldn't quite get it working.
Ooh.
We've got to take off pretty soon, so would it be right if you put this back together for us?
I will do my best.
Oh, yeah, that's what I did.
Can you leave me with some tools? Can I?
No.
And then you leave.
he only has the one tool.
The one Allen key.
The one Allen key.
This is you didn't bring your own man? What the hell? Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right. The plane has been assembled. And the two of you will reconvene and begin to head towards the others. Hubert, can you make a survival roll for me, please? Noting this is going to start it hard.
Sure, absolutely. I'd also like to quickly add that I wanted to mention it when we were having the last conversation over the radios. The bomb, the Hastfarang device, is ostensibly... Shapiro said it was ostensibly Serpent person technology, right? Or
Yeah,
it was
originally, that's right.
Yeah. So that means if we get caught out, we can threaten them with it. We can whip it out and go,
they'll know
hey, we've
what
got a
that thing is.
Hastfarang
They'll
device.
know what it
Leave
is.
us alone or we'll blow us all sky high.
And they go
kind
like,
of
why
thing.
do you have one of our portable wardrobes? We just store clothes in that. What are you threatening me with it for?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Survival.
and that's with you guys in the truck. Okay.
Start with a hard, you say?
Yeah.
All right, easy.
You
Let me just look.
do a
what's
lot of
my-
damage with that little hatchet.
I'm gonna give you 14 points of luck.
I'm
for
not giving you
extreme.
anything extra. Put that
Okay,
away.
fine. I'll leave it as a heart.
You've got it started. You'll be rolling again. Okay, yeah, you've got the start of an ascent. You are a fairly trained mountain. Is it climber or driver? Are you a mountain rally driver?
I'm a hiker,
Mountaineer.
technically. I'm very into sort of, I think, fancy travel. So that Hubert's definitely the kind of person where if he had a brand new toy car, right, and got to a hiking thing and it was like, you can't bring a car here, he'd be like, that's all right, I'll use my obscene wealth to pay and, help do it through. But yeah, I hike, I travel a lot. This is within my skill set.
So here's what I say. With that, you have the beginnings of a track. It's going to get steeper and it's going to get thicker, and there's every risk that your car has to be left somewhere as you go. Additionally, it's probably going to be slower than on foot. However, it means you can carry gear. So you could, if you wanted to, you could leave the plane on it for the time being, although taking off on the mountain is going to be difficult. It also would mean in a pinch, Dr. Sam could try and land on the car. It also, you can bring supplies and extra equipment and things. You probably just need to consider what value is the car adding, and is it worth it?
I am very happy to have as soon as the lieutenant arrives, them say, this is a terrible idea. We're not bringing the car, and we can put this to bed.
You're also aware of it. Like you said, you're a pretty good hiker. You know how fast you can move on your feet. Like, this is generally one of your areas of expertise. You're pretty keenly aware of it. It will let you carry more shit and possibly provide some protection if you get attacked by whatever made those marks. Up to you. Speaking of which, Minnie, can you make a library use roll? Oh, for fuck me.
Oh, yes.
I picked all the right books.
No, you just picked all the books.
Minnie's like pulling them.
Your library use is 80. You have
picked-
all
I
the
picked-
books.
A book, and it's exactly the right book.
Shit.
Tell us your secrets, Dave.
You just ruined the surprise.
Oh no.
Alright, still under the scale of this is local sort of stories and things rather than
Big lad,
straight
big
up
lad.
whatever.
Who is Big Lad?
Big boy.
Big Goblin.
You actually, at first you follow a kind of a thread about the Serpent people, and you have seen some reference to those in folklores and stories of people, believe of lizard communities living underneath the crust of the earth, the seeding world domination plans. This appears to be something distinct, something different. You actually follow a strange thread through a number of your books which references dreams. A sort of shared mythology of a lumbering giant with 4 arms that strides between dream and nightmare, chewing and destroying consciousness, and only emerging in far-flung regions of the world to devastate the local area. You do not know what this is necessarily called, but you know it to be fairly bloody dangerous, as well as flippin' massive, and you begin to piece together some shared mythos between this creature and some of the others that step between dreams, and you are beginning to understand the very beginning of the Dreamlands, which is another space within the mythos. And can you go ahead and add a skill called Dreamlands Lore, and you'll start with a D6.
Cool.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
The Dreamlands are dope. It's one of my favorite bits of the mythos. I love it so much.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Cool. This is not related to our snake people.
Well, there was
Or is it?
the Serpents are coming and going. It seems to be the same region as certain people, but they are distinct. They are not necessarily tied typically.
Right. Yeah.
But it's in the
Kind
same
of.
way that you aren't necessarily associated with Serpent people, but you meet that and then a Dreamland, then there's the connection there. So maybe they're just
Yeah, okay.
similar objectives or
Kind of
something.
feeds into the theory, perhaps, that the Serpent people
The people are looking
trying
for,
to get in,
which is what, yeah. It's just that the last one where they were trying to get in was distinctly serpent people.
Technically, also, I know that we're pulling at straws here, but the inner night. Dreams happen at nighttime.
Yeah.
It might be that where their big lad happens to be is in the dream world, and they want that big lad to come hither. Not this big lad. They're big
doing some
lad.
shit with it.
Come hither.
Not
Yes.
Oh, big lad.
come through the door, please. I mean, it would explain why they have
Big lad.
gates.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Fun. Great.
Everyone can reconvene. Dr. Sam, do you intend to
Also,
take
do
to the
remember,
sky
I
immediately?
am drunk.
Oh, yeah.
So if
could
there's
we forget?
sanity loss associated with this,
Not yet. You're damn, that's wild. Take another hit.
I've just got this picture of you like
Like
sitting
in the
on a camping chair with like a full bottle of liquor, just sort of like howling obscenities into nothingness
Yes.
in the middle of this deserted road.
she's not like, oh damn, that's wild.
Shit. I love this book.
I am intending to take to the skies, and I will not offer the passenger seat to the inebriated person.
Oh, yeah.
That seems like a bad idea. But yes,
Up in the
if we're
air.
assembled, do you just want one pair of eyes in the sky, or does anyone want to join me?
I think that getting down is going to be problematic, and if half of us are up in the air, it's going to be
true.
more problematic. I think we should just have one.
Yep, roger that.
The only issue I see here, and of course, Sam, if you think you're best placed in the sky, by all means, but we don't have any way to communicate with you. So if you do see something, the only way that you can tell us is to holler or shine something very bright. And if that's the case, everything else around us is going to know that as well.
Well, I mean, I could bring some kind of notepad and some way to weight it, like a
Or
little
a-
film canister, and I can write notes and then swoop down low and drop one in.
Or a flag, maybe flags. Otherwise, I mean, it could just be as simple as otherwise just
Naval
swoop us.
flags. You just
Actually,
have,
didn't we establish that Sam does actually have like
I
little
think we
semaphore
did.
flags
I
already?
think we
Yeah,
did.
that's,
I
I'm
think
pretty
we
sure that's
established
canon.
that.
All right.
We
That's a good
established
start.
that.
Okay, you're
Okay,
like,
and
you
then
can
in that case, never mind.
communicate. You can communicate simple things like
Rudimentary.
reload
We
cannons.
go
and
here,
fire
go
just started.
away. Like, yeah.
Pirates
Enemies,
attacking.
skull and crossbones, death be here. Do not proceed further.
I think there's something in the dropping notes, though.
Yeah.
Sam, I love and respect you deeply. I do not want a tin of tuna dropped on my head.
You know, Lancer could possibly deliver a note.
Oh,
That
is
seems
Yeah.
within
We'll
his
do.
That's a good
wheelhouse.
point.
You can have a little,
Done.
like, you can write in his closet.
Oh,
Sweet.
we,
Sweet.
have,
Sweet. Sweet.
we should have Lancet in the car with us. And then if we need to get word to Sam...
doesn't want to go in the
we-
car. Lancer wants to
Lancet's
Lancet
gonna
wants to-
fly.
Lancet's
Does Lancet
flying.
have a little, like,
shit.
one of those little, like, cylinder thingy strapped to his leg that you can just, like, pop a little
Does
note in and
now.
then have
Yeah,
it?
fuck
And
yeah.
yeah, sick. All right. And that's
will
we've
do.
also got
All
the
right.
semaphore flags if we need quicker,
quick
like,
messages.
immediate. But if there's something else, then Lancet notes. And
So
I
good.
assume I've met Lancet enough times that while he's not going to do what I say, he may not take my fingers off immediately.
Definitely. Yeah, no, 100%.
see.
Oh,
We'll see.
so good. Took
Might be
it
I have
feeling,
gloves.
might be feeling snacky.
Took me a chapter and a half, but I finally figured out how to use my pulp talents together.
Yay.
Amazing. I still haven't used one of my pulp talents because we don't talk to humans very often. That's okay.
What's the go, gang? Take to the skies?
Our dear doctor is going to take to the skies, and
Bush fashion.
yes, I'll look at the vehicle that Mr. Smith is so delightfully attempted to get up and go. Do we? Are there extra supplies that we require taking up? Do we intend? Shapiro has confirmed that by around 6 p.m. we should have.
Wait. Sorry, it'll be like, it's probably like 6 or 7 now. It'll be like 10, 11 when you return.
Oh, I
like,
thought we were
come
still
back.
mid-afternoon now.
No, you arrived
Oh,
at
wait.
1, did a
There's
bunch of shit.
nighttime.
It's like
Oh, I
4 or
see.
5 now. It's probably 5 now. You'll get back at like around 10 or something in the night. There should be
Right.
some progress. Again,
Well,
it's also
regardless-
kind of eyeballing it. He doesn't have the exact.
Regardless, we don't. This expedition should be short and sharp. If we find something, I don't think we should push into any facilities or caverns this evening. I think we just need to find out whether there is indeed something at the end of this. And then, if there's a big asshole, we can roll a bomb in it. If there isn't,
Excuse you?
then we can. Then we can investigate later. But I do think that an initial pass for reconnaissance reasons, and then return to the camp so that we can get this cure set up. Because also, to be frank, I'm not entirely convinced we're not going to get sick. And if that's the case, I'd rather know that there's something on the other end of this whole expedition that means that none of us are going to come out worse off. For all intents and purposes, for the foreseeable future, I consider most of you, well, all of you, part of the squad. And I don't let my squad die unless there's a very good reason, and I've yet to find one. So, shall we?
Do it.
We shall.
Not the worst compliment I've received.
All right.
You are your own people, but while we do this, Miss Sinclair, I will consider you one of my recruits, and you will have all of my protection available and all my skills.
Like I said, not the worst.
All right. So at 5 p.m., as the sun is still in the sky, beginning to creep towards the mountains, the four of you depart. Dr. Sam spins the engines of the flying machine as it stirs into life and then begins to coast along the thing and then just drives down the road. It's a bit bumpy, but you're able to get it up, and soon you're coasting high into the air. You can see in the distance the blockade where Captain Lancaster is set up, and beyond that, the town further below the mountain that this quarantine is protecting. You begin to coast back around, and you can just spot as I didn't get the ending. Sorry, are you taking the car or not?
My understanding was yes.
Okay.
no.
You can see.
My understanding was if we needed extra supplies, and if we don't, then no.
You could always just take it like. You could take it a bit and then bail on it, I guess, if you decide to travel faster.
It'll just make it a bit. If we can take it as far as we can, it'll make it a bit quicker to get up there. We've
That I
got
think
the
is
second
reasonable.
car
Sorry, no,
back on the
it is straight
road.
up slower than walking.
Oh, okay. If it's slower than walking,
It's because
then
it's
I
like
think time is what we
navigating
want.
everything and blah 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 blah.
I think it's
Use the car
reasonable.
yeah.
The only thing
It's
is
reasonable to have it here and to, so that we have a quick way to get back to camp. But if it is going to be slower, we are on a time schedule. The world may not end, but we might.
Sure. Let's go on foot.
Maybe just take it a little way up the path so that it's not visible from the road, just in case the situation.
Yes,
gets
you definitely have to
serious.
succeed. You could hide it. That's a gimme, Hubert. Okay.
Perfect.
You dramatically swing round, and they're still at the car. They're making a decision. Do another loop. Dramatically come round as the car is just coming off the road to be obfuscated behind the bushes. Is the half-drang device being hidden inside it, or are you carrying it with you?
I would take it with us.
All right,
I
Hubert.
think we take it with us. I really don't want to leave a bomb in. No, it's coming with us. It's coming with us.
Minnie sort of pulls out of the car seat, and it looks like, it's a massive crate. Then pass it to Hubert, who sort of one-handed can slide it into a backpack and sling it over his shoulder to be traveled safely as the three of you begin to push your way up and into the forest beyond. From the sky, Dr. Sam, you need to pretty regularly, you can only slow your speed so much before you drop. This thing can't hover.
right.
So it's regular zigzagging motions, keeping track of where people are, and they quickly become obscured by the foliage overhead, and it's unclear exactly where they are. And you sort of drive along and basically assume they're going in the approximate same direction. I'm going to need navigation rolls from someone on the ground and from Dr. Sam in the sky to try and calibrate this.
That's what Lancet's for, right?
That is what
you can
Lancet's
swoop down low and get a good eyeball on them,
do that
and
very
then come
much.
back up and show me where they are.
Yeah, go ahead and do that with a bonus dice.
Navigate, you say?
Yep. Or actually, yeah, this is navigate. Or track.
Nope, just navigate.
Okay.
And
Oh, you're really good at this.
success.
Yeah, well done. You know the approximate direction it's going, and you're able to semi-regularly... Actually, you probably just trust Lancet enough that they'll scream at you if you go the wrong direction. So you follow the path, and Lancet regularly swoops down, breaching the tree line, just enough to spot the others, and then darts back up. On the ground, can I get a navigation roll from someone, please?
Happy for me to make this.
What's your navigation?
50.
Yes, and I will assist. I have above base.
Yeah, 100%.
Excellent.
Go for it.
I'm drunk.
Yes, you are.
Oh no!
Not so great. I can like that. I'll like it.
20 points.
That's fine.
This is
Okay.
it's pulp. Yeah, like it.
Yeah, the alternative James would be pushing.
I've liked it. We're good.
Okay. All right.
Nice try, Dave. Nice
you
try.
Keep you keep the path and begin to head further up. As you get deeper into the woods, the
Forest. Jungle.
Yeah. Trees. The tree line begins to get larger. The width of the trunks, the trees get older, and quickly the ground rises steeply up before you. Hubert's pretty practiced at this, marching along with the cane, sort of propelling himself forward and directing everyone as you make your way higher and up into the mountainside. As you're traveling, can I get all 3 people on the ground to make a spot hidden roll? And also establish what are we... Who's like keeping watch? Who's keeping an eye out? Hubert and Carter. Hubert's directing. Carter's assisting with that as well. Minnie, what are you doing as we're traveling up?
I'm going to be keeping an eye and looking around, and generally not being very good at hiking. But not terrible at it. I mean, I'm an adventurer. I've done this before. By not
just very short, which means it takes you.
It takes my little legs are just like pumping real hard, and if there's a bit of mud, I step in it. If there's a twig, it catches in my hair. Like, I very quickly look much worse. But I'm traveling fine. And I am going to be keeping a look around, trusting the other 2 to make sure our way is correct.
Yeah. Can I get you to make a spot hidden roll, please?
I have a weapon drawn.
Yes.
Which weapon? Gun or whip?
Sorry, that's the same. You just made a gun motion twice.
The trank.
No, I have my pistol drawn. It is my sidearm of choice.
Noted.
I would expect nothing less. Spotted. Success. Nice.
Okay. The 3 of you are traipsing through the undergrowth when Minnie, you spot something fallen on the ground along your path. It looks to be a mango the size of like what bigger? It's like that large.
Like a watermelon-sized mango.
And the skin would have been thick at one point, but it's sort of rotten as if it's fallen here and sat in the sun for an age. And just underneath it, you can see like what look to be wriggling grubs as one of them squishes itself through and protrudes from it before diving back down into the whole thing. And as it leaves, there's a scent of that like overly sweet rotten fruit and garbage that fills your mouth. And as you look about, you can actually see evidence of others of these desiccated and begun to rot away in the sun around you. These are clearly, you've never seen a fruit or anything like that. And as you're looking at it, you are drunk, you're in control, but there's that sort of like wafting feeling, like when you're very tired and beginning to drift off towards sleep, that you can't help but shake. And you spot another thing that doesn't make much sense. There's like a little rat guy, and he's in the tree, and he's looking right at you, and he's standing on his 2 legs, and he's got a little tail curled around the branch, and it, honest to God, looks as though it's wearing, it can't be a vest, because it doesn't make any sense, but it's like leaves and grass arranged very confusingly. It's looking right at you, standing on its 2 legs, and as you watch, it goes, raises a hand and goes,
way back. While also, whoever's in front of me, I'm going to be like tapping their back, just like.
Probably me.
I stop poking and just shake.
What? I'll look.
Rat in a vest.
Whipper just like look in the direction Minnie's pointing and I won't, my gun is in my hand. I do not immediately raise it because I don't know what I'm about to look, but yes, I'll just flick around and see if I can see what's
Rat
going on.
in a vest is probably more confusing than threatening.
Yes.
Rat in a vest.
Tumbles backwards off the branch, its tail catches like an opossum, so it swings upside down. And as it's hanging upside down, it's kind of waves its hands. It goes,
can I see this?
Yes, you can.
Okay, great. So this isn't a hallucination as far as I know.
Can you see the rat in the vest?
I can.
You can see, okay.
What do you want?
Is it speaking Narco?
This does not appear to be Narcal. It appears to be gibberish. Although it does seem to be saying it very confidently, which is nice for him.
Okay.
Mr. Smith, what are you doing?
I think I walk a bit further forward. I think it's probably a nothing. I will turn around, come back, get drawn forward eventually, and then oh my god, you'll be shocked for a second, and then decide it's very, very cute. Our animal handler is in the sky, unfortunately, but I'm gonna try and approach it. I'll
No.
pull
Wait.
It's fine.
The fruit. No, the fruit on the ground. It looks very. There's maggots. Don't go anywhere near that.
That's okay. I'm going to. It wants some food, and I'll pull out a little.
Oh, I don't see the wildlife.
And I'm going to walk towards it with my hand outstretched. It's wearing a suit. It's very respectable.
If it bites you and you get rabies, I'm shooting you in the head.
I started drawing the giant mango with like a scale thing, and then kind of when I spotted rat in a vest, immediately stopped that drawing halfway through, and I'm now just like sketching rat in a vest.
Okay. Yeah. You pivot to it. Hubert begins. What snack do you think appeals to vest wearing rats?
I had some trail mix.
Oh yeah. It only wants the M&Ms.
No, I'll hand it. It's like nuts and.
Do
berries.
not move. It can come to us, Mr. Smith. Stay here, and I will like, again, it's not fully pointed, but I have like, I am. This is an unknown quantity in an unknown area in a weird situation. Carter is controlled enough that they are not shoot first, ask questions later, but they are absolutely. You make the wrong move, and I shoot you.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Does it take? If you said it takes the food.
So you get towards it, your hand outstretched, as Mitty draws frantically, sketching this small strange creature, and Lieutenant Carter keeps an eye out. You reach it out, and one of its hands swings forward. Rubbages through it bravely, catches one hand on your thumb to hold itself in place with the forward swing, and then begins to root around for one of the green M&Ms. As this is happening, Lieutenant Carter, can you please make a spot hidden roll?
yes, indeed.
If I may as well, what I'm doing, I will pull out a second handful of like the nuts. Oh my god.
I am aware. I believe. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
I'll just finish. I pull out a second handful of the nuts, and if it's like hanging onto my thumb, I'm gonna like let it and pull it a bit closer, and like I want to hold it, swell it, like give it the bag of food.
You sort of hold it a little bit further forward. And as you do, Lieutenant Carter, there's
in Slay the Spire, there is something that says, I am awake. That's me right now. I am awake.
You were already a little concerned about little rat guy, and as you sort of draw the weapon, pull the hammer back, there's something moving in the undergrowth, and you realize just on the edge of your vision, there's another 6 of these things just coming out of the growth. And as you spot this, the one that's holding your hands, Hubert, its jaw clicks, drops open, the back snaps up, and it goes leaps at your face to tear your fucking eyes out. We're gonna park the 4 of you there as combat breaks out. Lieutenant Carter, you are aware, and you're gonna get to act first.
And I have 3 shots around. Let's hope they don't have a lot of hit points, because I can pop 3 of them, hopefully.
Fuck yeah. So we're gonna leave that there. As Dr. Sam, you're just winding through when Lancet comes back and kind of suggests that they've stalled for a moment. So you do a circuit. Can you make a spot hidden roll at this point, please?
Good idea.
No.
Okay.
What do you want about Lancer?
Would you as you begin to swing through the air, pivoting in place, there's a little bit of cloud cover around here, and just as you slide past in the sort of direction of where you're all heading to, you can see that at one point there's going to be a cliff where the ground is shifted slightly. This might be evidence of the landslide. You make out what appears at first to be a bird launching into the air to take flight, but as dark wings beat and it continues to soar forward, there's one of those things that attacked the plane, and it spotted you in the sky, and it's racing towards you.
Yeah.
And
saw that one coming.
That's where we're going to leave Dr. Sam.
forgot about those.
Mm.
Did anyone else forget
Yeah.
about those? I forgot about those.
No, they tried to fling me out of plane.
Now they're gonna try and fling Dr. Sam out of a plane. It's gonna be sweet. Okay.
I forgot about
Everyone
those.
gets a turn.
All right, down on the ground, assailed by little rat guys. Up in the sky, assailed by faceless lizard horror skinless thing. We'll leave the episode there, and it's something to look forward to. And we pick back up with a rousing round of combat and seeing if you can survive being killed in the most embarrassing way possible.
Yeah, would this be the this might be the most embarrassing monster death. I mean, there are other more embarrassing ways to die, obviously, but
For sure, this is
fucked
the
up little
worst
guy in a
monster to be
vest.
killed by.
I got it. They're weird dudes, but they're not that strong. We'll just get into the car and we can drive. Oh, it's fine. Sorry.
Pretty sure they would have outrun us in the
They would have
car.
come through the window and killed us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been like
We would have been trying to like fight in a box. Like
Remember the I guess without spoiling it, the end of the Blackwater Creek episode. That was the one with the
yes,
the face,
yes,
yeah.
I do.
I'm picturing what is it? I think it's Newton. No, it's not Newton. I think that's the character's name in another show. In Jurassic Park, when he gets into the car and there's the little guy that gets him. That's what
I love
He
that
would
dude
have
too.
run
That's like my
back
favorite.
and
That's like my favorite
gotten
dinosaur.
an X.
All right, hell yeah.
Yeah, we love a fucked up little guy.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you everyone for playing, and thank you all so much for watching too. We will
Thank
be
you, Dave.
back. Thank you. We will be back next week in the same time at the same place. We continue our North Borneo expedition and encounter with all manner of fucked up little dudes. We hope so fervently. We will see you then.